I believe most of the website owners are seeing traffic coming from sources like ChatGPT or Perplexity in your Google Analytics dashboard. We're witnessing the beginning of a massive shift in how people search for information. Most of us want to get more AI traffic, of course, but most of the website owners have no idea how to capture this AI traffic intentionally. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how AI search engines work behind the scenes, and more importantly, how you can optimize your content and the website to get consistent traffic from ChatGPT, Perplexity, and dozens of other AI platforms. Here's what we will cover today. First, I will review how AI search engines actually work by examining their hidden JSON queries. So you will see the dramatic differences between how ChatGPT and Perplexity parse and search the queries and why traditional SEO still forms the foundation. Second, we will explore why search API providers matter. ChatGPT, I think ChatGPT is using Brave Search API along with the hybrid methods. In the meantime, Perplexity probably using Bing Search API. And third, I will show you the practical GEO plus SEO implementation. GEO stands for Generative Engine Optimization. It's emerged and broadly discussed recently in the industry. In this part, I will propose some actions website owners could take, from AI-specific keyword research tools to semantic HTML structure that AI systems can actually read and navigate. And finally, we will discuss the strategic shift happening right now. For example, I believe that a website is becoming even more important than ever before, playing as the AI accessible layer, and one needs to adapt your keyword strategy for high intent AI traffic. Hopefully, this video could share some inspiration for anyone who is watching. So let's dive in. Okay, let me start with a real experiment. I'm going to ask both ChatGPT and Perplexity the same question. Compare Robinhood commission fees vs Moomoo commission fees in the US. Instead of just looking at their answers, I want to show you the actual search queries they generate. So let's see how they parse differently. Let's firstly go to ChatGPT chat box. So I just ask the exact same query here. In order to see the full response JSON file, let's go to the web dev tool and copy this unique ID, which is a ID generated specifically for this chat, and then go to the network in the dev tool and paste it under the filter search box and refresh the page, and then go to the first JSON file and switch to response. So here we could see the full and complete JSON file response from ChatGPT. Let's see how ChatGPT does it. First of all, ChatGPT well receives my my question. I want a comparison between Robinhood commission fee and Moomoo commission fee in the US. What ChatGPT does next is to start a deep thinking, and it tells itself that the user, me, wants a comparison of fees. So it will look up the relevant information, and seems like it needs to check different sources for fee structure comparison to get the data on fees, blah, blah, blah. After it finished successfully of its deep thinking, what it does next is to generate two parallel queries for Robinhood and Moomoo commission fee in US, and then start to search. Based on the response templates from the search result, there is no apparent evidence which API provider ChatGPT is using. It might be Brave Search API from some public information that I know, but it's also potentially possible that it's using the hybrid methods. The search results are wrapped under search result group as well as the domain name. For example, those results are wrapped under robinhood.com, and we see those results are wrapped under moomoo.com. And there are also other search results coming from, for example, social media, reddit.com, and some third-party websites. So this triggers another question. How does ChatGPT reference in the final answers, and which links it's using for the answer? For example, for this specific sentence, it actually attaches a lot of reference. So which links ChatGPT decides to extract information from to form the final answer. So let's take this sentence as an example and locate it. We successfully locate this answer and also offer zero commission on US stocks and totally match. From attributable index 500-0, it links this claim to source document 500, which ChatGPT chunks, embeds, and indexes from the web search response. And the zero is a sentence. Sentence zero stands for the first sentence it takes right away from this document as the direct reference for this claim. So which document ChatGPT uses specifically? It actually uses primary sources from here versus supporting evidence to answer the question. This is the direct source for the claim, and we notice that the snippet here contains almost identical language to the claim, and the attribution segment 500-0 actually links back to the claim's attributable index. It also uses almost 13 supporting websites to serve different verification purposes. For example, it uses its Momo's official website's sources because it has the highest trust for this answer, of course. ChatGPT uses third-party authority for independent verification, and it also extracts information from some geographic variations from Singapore, Australia pricing page for consistency check. And it also uses Investopedia or Robinhood, which are competitor context for comparative validation. So ChatGPT uses this multi-layer system for a claim validation process. It first uses primary source match to find exact claim in Momo's financial pricing page, and then it verifies claim across 13 additional sources to look for contradictions or nuances to support evidence check. And then it compares with competitor information like Robinhood and checks for geographic consistencies from its own Singapore, Canada, Australia pages. And we notice that for all the URLs, they have UTM tracker. So website can track ChatGPT driven traffic. It helps verify which sources are actually being accessed. So let's move on to see how Perplexity does it. Perplexity does it similarly, but in different strategy. It breaks complex queries into strategic sub-goals, and each goal receives its own dedicated research phase. For example, it breaks this query into 3 goals. The first goal is to gather information on Robinhood commission fee in the US. And the second goal is to gather information on Momo. And the third goal is to compare Robinhood and Momo commission fees in the US. And then it generates several queries for each goal. So for example, for goal 1, it generates 3 keywords: Robinhood commission fees US, trading fees 2025, and commission structure US. Based on the search queries, I noticed that the Perplexity is more preferable to search on the recency of the search result, especially with the most updated time. Here is the search results for each goal, and based on the search result response, Perplexity appears to use Bing Search API since this response format matches the standard Bing Search API payload structure, and this is the Bing API documentation. The reason I frequently mention the web search API provider is because it's really important to get AI traffic, and we will discuss it later. Finally, how does Perplexity filter the final result and show the reference links? Different from ChatGPT's strategy, which uses granular attribution with sentence-level source mapping, Perplexity implements a 2-tier system: selected and reviewed. With the quality-first approach, I just did the math. It uses aggressive filtering with only a 35% selection rate. To make a summary, Perplexity and ChatGPT, they orchestrate differently. From strategic approach, Perplexity is more goal-based, and ChatGPT, they just generate queries directly after deep thinking. And Perplexity is more explicit on your queries, but ChatGPT, they are more preferable on implicit recency. And for web search API, Perplexity appears to use Bing Search API based on JSON response structure, but ChatGPT, we're not sure. There is no apparent evidence. And Perplexity, they are really aggressive on the final result filtering. So only 7 out of 20 sources could be selected. But for ChatGPT, it's more preferable on more granular sources. So despite these different approaches, both systems end up prioritizing the same types of content, like official documentation, high authority domains, comparison tables, FAQ sections, and structured data. Doesn't sound familiar to SEO managers. Yes, regardless of which search API they use, they all generally follow similar SEO ranking fundamentals: authority, relevance, freshness, and the user experience signals remain core ranking factors. And remember, there are tons of players. For example, Grok has access to X data, and the cloud they use Brave Search, and the Gemini, of course, they use their own Google custom search. And there are tons of new AI platforms are launching every month. Each one represents a potential traffic source, but you have to understand their underlying technology before you want to get traffic and benefits from them. So this triggers a point of what we previously mentioned. Web search API and infrastructure matters because those AI players uses them differently. So let's take example of two web search providers, Bing and Google, how they work for traditional SEO ranking. From content freshness signals, Google emphasizes more on EAT, and Bing prioritizes recent publication dates. From content length preferences, Google really favors long-form content, but Bing, they would be more preferable on direct answers. From technical SEO perspective, Google advances core web vitals and user experience metrics, and this one really important for ranking on Google. But Bing is more forgiving on these parts, but rewards clean semantic HTML. After we understand the basic infrastructure of how AI searches, now how do we actually capture this AI traffic? There are several recommendations. First, don't just rely on SEMrush or Ahrefs anymore. I found some simple tools that extract the queries directly from AI. So it's basically doing what we just demonstrated, pulling the search queries right from the JSON files. So instead of guessing, try interacting with AI about a specific topic you want to write about. See how they actually parse your queries and then decide which keywords to work on. And honestly speaking, this is really interesting. This feels like we are at the beginning of a whole new category of keyword research tools. There's probably a huge opportunity here for someone to build, for example, a SEMrush for AI search, but instead of just showing ranking, SGRP features, or keywords difficulty, the new AI era tool might give query parsing patterns across different AI systems and AI citation frequency, like how often content gets referenced, etc. Second, as we discussed previously, since different AI player uses different web search providers, the best but not the easiest practice would be submitting the indexation of your website to all major search engines like Bing and Google, and optimize your website and content strategy based on what each search engine prefer on SEO ranking factors. And third, implement proper HTML5 elements, schema markup, and data attributes to create machine-readable content that AI can easily process and cite. Let me show you what I mean here. Remember to use proper heading, for example, H1 or H2, hierarchy, and the semantic elements if you have table or lists to create a clear content structure, and implement a structured data to help AI systems understand content context. And this is highly recommended to use custom data attributes to provide additional context, for example, data attributes to show that this topic is about a comparison of trading fees. So last, implement clean DOM tree and area labels on your website. I found this part really interesting. I recently found out how Opera browser could navigate the whole website like a real person to compare products and to add to cart or even place an order on behalf of humans. So let's watch this video. how Opera does is by reading DOM tree and area label instead of using visual pixel or OCR, which means it doesn't take screenshots of each page and then parse. It reads and interacts with your website. I would highly recommend to implement the area label on websites. Here's what I mean. Let me show you. If I have a button on my website to direct the user to log in or sign up, I will apply an area label and apply user authentication here. And I will apply the description for this button that AI would know. When user click on this button, it opens authentication model with sign up and login options. And there are several fields required, for example, email, password, and submit button. And if you want to be more explicit, you could let AI know that after user click on this button, it will go through several steps. For example, opens authentication model. User has to enter email and a password, and he or she will be redirected to dashboard after successful authentication. When it's finished, there will be some more expected outcomes, like a user could go to the dashboard with the account overview to reset passwords, and this is a new user onboarding flow. For us human, we see the HTML code, but for AI, what they see will be this button opens an authentication model. The model will have email, the password fields, and the new user will go to onboarding, and AI could persuade itself that it can plan the whole complete user journey. So instead of asking AI to try to interpret pixels or screenshots, you are literally telling the AI the entire user journey that happens when someone clicks this button. So when AI systems can understand your site structure this clearly, they can not only cite your content, but actually help user navigate and complete tasks on your website. If you want to see this done perfectly, I highly recommend studying Stripe.com. Their website is basically a masterclass in AI-friendly structure. I mean, every primary button, every form, every navigation element is meticulously labeled with clear data attributes and a semantic markup. They just do exactly what an AI agent would need to understand their payment flows, API documentations, and the user onboarding process. So they get cited constantly by AI systems when people ask about payment processing. They've made their entire site AI navigable. They've also gone beyond just the AI-friendly markup. They literally provide plain text markdown versions of all their documentations by just adding MD to any URL. So instead of AI having to scrape messy HTML and JavaScript rendered pages, it gets clean, structured markdown that's perfect for LLM consumption. So, final thoughts. I believe that websites are more important than ever before. While everyone is rushing to build native apps, AI agents can only interact with open web experiences, at least for now. But we're also in this very chaotic period where there is no unified standard yet. To be honest, I really hope there is something like MCP protocol for AI SEO's ecosystem. Think about it. Now, Opera uses DOM tree navigation, and OpenAI takes pixel screenshots. Microsoft uses OCR hybrid approaches. It's like the early days of the internet all over again, with everyone building their own early solutions. And then you have the platform conflicts as well. For example, AI bypassing the App Store will dramatically influence the Apple's App Store CPS revenue, which contributes more than 40% of Apple's annual operating revenue. And Google wants their AI to work better than competitors, and Meta wants to keep users in their walled gardens. So, as small website owners, I believe we just need to embrace the chaos to try everything. So let the big players fight over standards and rules. We can just optimize for all of them and try to capture traffic from every direction. And the second, I think every website owner should evolve their keyword strategy. Focus on high intent keywords that represent actions AI can assist but can't dominate. For example, analyzing stocks, booking flights, making purchases. These are queries where AI needs authoritative, structured information to provide value, but AI cannot bypass your platform. But don't abandon informational content like how to or what is. This kind of informational content still matters for internal link building and traditional SEO authority. The difference is now you need both layers working together. And last, we're at the beginning of the GEO and SEO era. Traditional SEO provides the foundation like backlinks, authority, comprehensive content, but GEO captures the high intent, high value traffic from AI platforms. And I've put together a complete guide with all the technical details, code examples, and the tools mentioned in this video in my blog article, and the link is in the description. Anyone who is interested could give a deeper look. So thanks for watching.